Hey, everybody. I can't sleep. What are you going to do? So I opened up the Zoom room. Yeah, it's my bra straps. What of it? So I opened up the Zoom room for you all to come on and plug whatever you got going. That's right. You heard me. This is a curtain. It's not a scarf. It's a big curtain. Come plug whatever you want. I'm going to do my leg kicks while you are figuring out if you want to come on and plug. I'm doing my morning exercises. Did you know you can use anything in your house to exercise? Let me show you what I'm talking about. See this wall? Why go to the gym? You can work your arm fat right at home. It might take 15 years, but you can do it. It hurts to be in love. Come plug your stuff. I can't sleep. You might as well make good use of this. I went to sleep with my earrings on, and they're still there this morning. Fabulous, right? Let me practice different smiles. See my osteoporosis arm? It's getting so small right in. Come plug your stuff. I'm here, so if you can't sleep like I can't, you can come on and plug your stuff. Don't tell me nobody has anything they want to plug. Use your improv skills. I'll do my exercises while y'all don't come on and plug anything. Don't complain. I opened this up so that you could come plug something. Okay, I'll drink my green tea then. Yes, I cut my own hair. No, I'm never happy with it. Look at this. What's going on here? I'm never happy. Why do they make us look at ourselves, talk to you? This is terrible for women. Talk about body morphic disorder. It's time to dye my hair. I see that. I got the pandemic 4 inches. I have one interview today. That's Richie, the head priest out of East Coast. And tomorrow, Thomas J. Kelly. So I'll be looking forward to doing those interviews. And tonight I have the Ocha Thai restaurant mic that starts at 11 p.m. Going to that. And about 5 p.m., I go for a walk, and I walk to the area where the Ocha Thai restaurant is, and I hang out there. Ameera Abu Alsaoud is here. Yay. Let's see what he has to promote. She has to promote. I don't know names. I'm not racist. I just don't know names. Hi, Amira.
Hi, how are you?
Fabulous. I didn't know Amira would be a woman's name or a man's name. So, of course, I assumed it's a man. Bad me. Hi.
Well, hi. Amira would be like the male version. So like the A makes it feminine.
So it's kind of like Spanish.
Arabic, but yeah.
You're Arabic. Nice. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being patient with me to know what I'm doing with names.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So, Amira, I opened this up for a max of 30 minutes. You're the only one that responded. And if nobody else comes, you can stay and talk for a while. What do you have that you want to plug?
I have, well, if anyone, and well, you said it's live, well, I see it's live streaming. So if anyone's in the Boston area, I have a show at Patriots Place on the 19th, and on the 18th, I have a show in Mattapan. But if anybody knows me, they can just hit me up.
Well, those that don't know you, you have two things coming up, one in the Boston vicinity, right?
Yeah, like, well, it's in Massachusetts, in Foxborough. It's like probably an hour away.
So it's an hour which way of Boston?
I'm not driving, so I don't know.
Just hit you up on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Amira. Okay, so you have two shows. One on what day and one on what day?
The Patriots, I think, is on the 19th. The Patriots Place in Foxborough, and then the 18th. I think it's 18 and 19, and then the other one's in Mattapan. So.
And so are those shows or mics? They're shows.
Yeah, they're shows.
Wonderful. I'm so glad you came on. I've never met you before.
I think I've seen you before, but not like hosting or maybe like just on a mic. But yeah.
Yes. So, Amira, I'd love to do a full interview of you sometime where I get to talk about your whole life, all your comedy you've done. Do you ever have the desire to be interviewed on my little podcast?
Sure.
So nobody's showing up right now. Do you want to talk and do one now?
Okay.
Okay, because other people aren't jumping on this. We might as well do Amira's interview right now and see how I do with improv.
Okay.
Okay, usually I plan it ahead where you send me a braggy introduction and some pictures and I promote it. But today we're just going to do it on the fly. And this is where you have the advantage because you know you and I don't. I don't know jack diddly about you. So you ready? It's all about you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen who are and are not watching, mostly not, welcome to Comic Spot, interview number 808, if you're counting. My sponsor is the veteransofcomedy.com. I'm a proud veteran of the military. So if you want to hire someone who served our country and is now serving up jokes, go to veteransofcomedy.com and pick from one of the veterans there that is funny. I'm on there too. Anyway, enough for my sponsor. Today, we have someone here who came on and said that she wanted to just plug a couple shows in the Boston area. She already did that. And we're going to go into an interview since nobody else is popping on the pop-up plug-in show here. So, Amira, introduce yourself by saying your whole name so I don't botch it.
Okay. My name's Ameera Alsaoud.
Wonderful. Can you say it real slow and loud for an old lady, please?
Alsaoud, the last name. Oh, Alsaoud.
Alsaoud?
Yeah.
No, you're just saying, yeah, sort of. Is it Abu Al-Saud?
No, the AL is silent. So Abu Saud.
Abu Saud.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
So I know Abu is father of, but I don't know what Saud means. It just means it's hard to pronounce.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So earlier, before we started the interview part, you said that it's an Arabic name. So I don't want to sound or look racist, but I'm assuming that means you're Arabic.
Palestinian, yeah.
Palestinian. There we go. Awesome. I love the Middle East. All about the Middle East. I love it so much. I've never been there. I would have loved to have gone when I was younger. But yeah, so let's talk about your life. What country are you living in right now? You're in America, in the Boston area. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in the Boston. Well, actually, I'm in Boston, but yeah,
And how do you like Boston?
it's good. There's just a lot of traffic and like, city issues, but if you move out to the suburbs, it'll be better.
Yes. There's a lot of really good Boston comedy historically. It's quite the city historically for great comedians.
Yeah, I've seen a lot. Yeah, it's a good place for comedy and schools and like raising a family if you're a little bit out of the city.
Yes. Some of the world's best comedians who are the smartest, ethereal, like they get the nuts and bolts of comedy, have come out of Boston. Are you aware of all the great comedians that have come out of Boston?
Not all of them. I know like Sam J, Bill Burr. What's There's some other ones that's like I can't think of on the top of my head. Gary Goldman. I think he's from here, but
Yeah. And Eddie Brill, who went on to be the booker at the late night with Johnny Carson, I think it is, and Wendy Liebman, Kathy Ladman came out of the Boston comedy scene. Yeah, some of the smartest comedians have come out of there. So let's talk about your life. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up. I love knowing where people grew up, how you became funny. Let's hear that story, Amira.
So I grew up, well, like I moved around like every year or two. So like some places like Brockton, Stoughton, Everett, Malden, Middleborough, Cambridge. I think most of the time was in Cambridge when I was growing up, but then that was like 7 years. That was the first one. It was the longest. And I grew up with two sisters. And then when I was like 10, my dad had another kid with a different marriage. And that's my brother. He lived with his mom, so I didn't really see him that much. And I think what made me funny was like the different circumstances I was in. Like my dad, just like because he's a foreigner, he just like does a lot of funny things. Or like I think it's funny. Like maybe if I didn't had a different brain, I wouldn't see it in a funny way. Maybe it would just be more sad. But I wrote it in a funny way. Maybe it's like a coping mechanism. I don't know.
You're funny.
Thank you.
I get you're funny already.
Yeah, I haven't gone to college, so I have a lot of free time. I think people that have a lot of free time can just like really grow their creativity. I'm kind of like Beyonce. She had a lot of free time growing up.
How many siblings do you have?
I have three. I have an older sister, a younger sister, and then a younger brother.
Awesome. I have an older sister. I know it's hard to believe there's anyone older than me, but I have an older sister and I have a twin brother.
Oh, wow.
Do you have a doppelganger? Has anyone ever told you you look just like somebody?
I mean, this guy said I look like someone, or like he's met me before, but I told him I'm from Boston and I was up in Maine at the time. And so I don't know if it was like a pickup line or just like I look familiar, but like also I had my mask on. So I was like, I have familiar eyes or something. I don't know.
Maybe your mask was just like somebody else's.
It was blue, like the typical color.
Oh my gosh. This has been crazy, and you're in the Boston area. So what has the pandemic been like for you?
Well, I used to be afraid of leaving the house for like 7 years, so it's not really that different. Things have opened up if I did feel like going outside to do open mics. I've been booked at least for maybe once or twice a month to do shows, so I've been trying to get out at least once a week for a mic or a show. But I kind of tend to stay home most of the time.
So you said you were afraid to leave the house for 7 years. Is that agoraphobia or just wanting?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Awesome. It's like name that diagnosis hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have a fear of big spaces. So I get it. I prefer if you said, do you want to meet at the mall or do you want to meet at this tiny little diner? I would pick tiny little diner at the littlest table.
Yeah. I don't like crowds. I feel like it overwhelms me.
Me too.
It could be like a big space, but like no people, that would be better.
Yes,
Because
yes.
then you get claustrophobic.
Yeah, that's true too. So let's talk about you growing up and your coping mechanism and you looking at things funny to cope or things that could have been sad to other people. You've made them funny. And I find that really interesting. So let's talk about you growing up and the things you look at differently than other people, besides your father's relationship with the family.
Besides that,
Yeah, like other things. How does Amira see the world uniquely and make it copable? That's not even a word. How do you cope with the world through comedy, Amira?
um, I think like when, like even at school, like if a bully would make fun of me, I would just on the spot like feel like pressure. I have to make fun of him back, so he leaves me alone. Like at first I wasn't making fun of them, but then I came home and told my sister, and she's like, "You gotta make fun of them." And I was like, "All right." So that got my brain getting like witty and like working on that as a protection kind of thing, and it did work because like they wouldn't want to be made fun of back. So like one time this guy said, "Oh, I have really ugly feet," because I was wearing sandals. And I was like, well, at least I'm not all ugly. And then he just left me alone. So I mean it's really good. And it's like some of my friends will just complain every single day, like they keep making fun of my sideburns, or they keep like, you gotta make fun of it. You can't be like a pushover. So
Yes.
I think it kind of sparked with like that, and also like my family life. Like I was in the middle, so I was kind of like ignored. So to be funny got you attention. You're like, hey guys, like actually, even me and my sisters would try to, like when we go over my mom's house, like my aunt and grandmother would be there, and we'd like put on a show, and like we'd be acting or something, or like I don't know, we just kind of get bored. Yeah.
When was like, what was something that was really funny that came out of your mouth at a young age, besides what you mentioned with the bully?
Um,
Because that's funny. At least I'm not, ugly all over.
do you mean besides it had nothing to do with my dad, or just in general?
It can have to do with your dad. Anything that came out of your mouth. I remember my parents survived the Holocaust and they came to America and they just stared off into space all the time. They were, not capable of being parents. And then they would fight. They had like one was Jewish and one was Christian. And it's like, good Lord. And so one time I put marbles on my head and let them fall on the floor. I must have been like 4 years old or 5. And they stopped arguing, looked at me, and I said, "You're making me lose my marbles." And that's the first time I remember anything funny coming out of my mouth. What about things that came out of your mouth? Other things that you recall?
I mean, like, so I wasn't allowed to date, and like I would tell guys like, hey, I can't, like even my dad told me not to talk to boys. So so this guy would be like, hey, I'm Brendan, nice to meet you. And I'd just be like, and then I come home and I'm like, hey, it was kind of awkward. This guy, I felt like I was being rude. It's like, you don't think of how it's gonna play out when it's the first time you're young. And then he's like, I never told you to not say hi. That's rude. I'm like, what? Like, never ask a guy that has like early onset Alzheimer's for advice. Yeah. There was a time he was in traffic and he had a broken horn, And he was just like, this is like when I started writing stuff down, like this is gonna be in a set later. And like, so this guy cut him off in the middle of the Boston traffic, and he was just like, stupid idiot. And I was like, I was like, you're the idiot. No one can hear you. And then he was quiet, like, yeah, I guess I am stupid.
Oh my gosh. So you went through grade school and high school. Did people around you know that you were gonna one day be a comedian?
No, I think I kind of like just told my family, and they're like, okay, like, and only like my sister really encouraged me. She went with me to my first open mic. But like, I think like some people were saying like, oh, you can write funny things, but like, I don't know about the performing because of my nerves, and like agoraphobia. I'm not really that comfortable with people, but I've been working on it. I don't think I've mastered it yet, but yeah.
That's, like submersion therapy.
Yeah.
That's great. Has it been helping you with your not being comfortable in crowds, and you're not necessarily wanting to leave the house like me?
So like if I have a show, like, okay, you have to go at a certain time, yeah, I will go. But like if I'm just like not if an open mic is optional, I won't really go unless I'm meeting someone there, like someone's depending on me. But it won't like, I mean, I feel comfortable with crowds, but I think before I did comedy, I had to get comfortable and stuff. But I just like prefer to be in a smaller crowd. I don't feel like nervous, but like just maybe overwhelmed after I leave. Like, you have to decompress for a while.
Yes, absolutely. So how long, in terms of number of shows or months or years in the business, how long have you been doing open mics and shows and being on stage?
So 8 months before the pandemic, and then since like March of like 2020, or
Wow.
2021, on Zoom. Sorry. So
Yes.
not like 6 or 7 months on Zoom. Yeah.
How has that been?
It's good. Like I've learned how, like in the beginning of my like trying to get booked on shows and stuff, I wouldn't have memorized my set because I get bored doing the same jokes, so I'd write it on my hand, and it would be awkward to like look down and try to do it subtly. But now I've memorized it because Zoom can like allow you to do 5 sets or 6 or whatever like a day. So I've done the same thing over and over. So I think that's good. And also I appreciate the feedback mics where if you're bombing, at least you know why. They tell you afterwards. But
Yes,
also it is better in person, but I do prefer like staying home and not having to travel.
me too. Isn't it nice?
Mhm.
So what is it you'd like to accomplish kind of sort of post-pandemic now in your comedy life?
I'm working on getting booked more. I know I'm not like ready for like, a Netflix special. But, down the line, maybe one day, or like, something on HBO or whatever.
Yes, and let's talk a little bit about your Middle East heritage. So when you go out to comedy in the Boston vicinity, wherever you go, are there people who are from your motherland that come to comedy?
I've noticed there was like one or two, and sometimes like someone near where I'm from, like not necessarily Palestine, but maybe like Persian, but they won't be the same religion. It would be kind of, I feel like we have similar upbringings, like, overbearing parents making you feel guilty all the time. Yeah.
Yes, oh my gosh. I think a lot of people from the Middle East, even Italian people, have that.
Yeah, Mediterranean. Yeah.
Yeah, Mediterranean. So do you speak in your mother tongue, and can you do comedy in it?
I don't think I would be able to do comedy in it. Maybe like a sentence, but not like a whole set. I do speak, but not that well. I understand way more, but sometimes I pretend I don't and see what people have to say about me.
Me too. I did that when I went to Germany. When I went in the army and they put me in Germany, I'm like, listen, I'm half Jewish. You shouldn't send me there. And I knew a little, I knew words. And so I knew when they were talking about me and what they were saying.
Yeah.
You do that too, right?
I mean, like, I try to, like, I don't mention it. They'll like maybe assume because I talk English really well, like I was born here, that I don't. But also, like, one time it was by accident. Like, I was working at the YMCA and I didn't have my name tag. Like, well, I had my name tag there, but he didn't notice it. So then the guy was Arab and he was talking shit about the YMCA apparently, and apparently he noticed afterwards. He was, oh, Amira, oh, you heard what I said, and I wasn't paying attention, but I know it was bad because he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and I'm like, it's okay. Just don't let it happen again.
Okay, so when you don't have a name tag and before you were wearing a mask,
Mhm.
there are stupid people and there are racist people in the world. So, what is the dumbest thing people have said to you based on how you look
Um,
in
I
America?
mean,
Americans are stupid.
I mean, they haven't really said anything like if people know me, like in middle school, like because after like 9/11, they'll say go back to your country. But it's like I've never at that point I have never been there. I only been to Jordan even after when I did travel. So I haven't actually like, I go back to where you came from. Like I'm from here. Like when we go back to Rhode Island, like that's where I was born. I don't know.
Stupid people. Oh my gosh. So let's talk a little bit about Jordan. I'm very much a fan of the King of Jordan that there used to be. Not the one now, he's relatively new, but the one right before that was the king for a long time. He used to I dress down and ride around the country just to see what commoners, how they treated each other. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, I don't really like watch the news because I'm already depressed enough. Um,
Yeah. There was this amazing king in Jordan. I don't know, maybe like in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. I don't know, maybe 2000 up to 2010. Who knows? But he had a reputation for like riding in a cab and people didn't know it was him and he'd just see how people are treating each other in his country. I thought that's so cool.
Yeah, I would do something like that just because, like, as a king or queen, you'd probably be super bored because everyone does everything for you. So
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, why not?
So you've been to Jordan, but you haven't been to, the
Morocco?
Arab countries, right?
Yeah, I mean, I went to Jordan and Kuwait 1 year, and then the next time I went, like, which is like 7 years later, it was just Jordan. Kuwait's a little bit too hot for me, but
How
yeah.
hot does it get in Kuwait?
I feel like when I was there, it was like 120 something, maybe. I don't know what's the highest it's ever been, but it was up there. Like people don't leave the house until like after sunset, and it's just like more of a like sitting at cafes playing cards kind of nightlife. So
Now that you're a comedian and you're of Arab descent, have you ever thought about applying to the USO or Armed Forces Entertainment to go over there and have your plane ticket and your hotel paid for and entertain the troops in your country?
I feel like you have to have more than 10 minutes material.
No, you don't.
Really? Oh, I haven't really looked into it. So, I mean, maybe one day, but maybe I feel like COVID's not really helping with the traveling ideas. But I've just gotten comfortable doing like, well, I just did 7.5 when I was bombing. So I don't know how, but when I could do up to 9 when I'm comfortable with like a good warm crowd.
Yes,
I don't know
absolutely.
how that crowd is in the Middle East.
Yeah.
They'll be like holding guns and they'll be like, make me laugh.
Make me laugh. Yeah. So, we know what you want to accomplish in comedy this year. What is it? I'm assuming you're younger than me. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm
Is that
32.
32? I'm 70. So, in your life, before you get to my age and everybody wants you to just curl up and die, what do you want to accomplish?
I feel like people, if I do get famous, they might be interested in reading a book for me. I don't really read that many books unless they're from comedians, so
Same
it, would,
here. I
it
could
wouldn't be
care
that
less.
long.
What?
It would be a short book, so I don't waste their time, but like maybe an audiobook. So I don't even have to write it. Um, but maybe write that, and then obviously to get famous, you'd have to have like a special or something and tour everywhere, and you could do like bringer shows without putting any effort in. You know what I mean? Like just my name is there, get tickets. You know, like
Get your own tickets. Find
Yeah.
the ad.
Or have my own comedy club myself. You know, that'd be awesome.
Great idea. Great
Yeah.
idea. I'll mop the floor at your comedy club for you. If you get a club, I'll be your floor mopper. I would do that.
You could do like concession or something, like scan the tickets
Yeah.
instead of mopping.
So, what's your favorite style of comedy to watch, and what's your style of comedy to do?
Well, I feel like sometimes if you do dark jokes in a clever way, not where it's, you know, too depressing, I like those. Like very animated people like that do impressions and like, you know, are like moving around and everything. Like Sebastian Maniscalco is a very good example of that. Or Mo Amir does a lot of impressions. I think they're both on Netflix. I just keep watching it over and over, and it doesn't ever get old, you know?
Yeah.
I do like, I talk fast and everyone tells me to slow down, but I feel like I do a little bit of impressions of my dad and stuff, and my mom a little bit. I feel like I want to like just do more, like I guess people are telling me to do less of my dad stuff because, well, people, when I say people, I mean my dad. Uh, so I kind of want to branch out. Maybe people like their dad in the audience and don't like that type of jokes. So maybe just have more, like right now I have a split between dating jokes and making fun of my dad. So maybe put in some like, you know, general jokes about, you know, the world or observation stuff. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to your heritage. What's the dumbest thing people think when they hear that you're Arabic by descent? What are the stereotypes you get thrown at you and the dumb questions? Because I
Um,
get a lot of dumb ones being, you know, German, half Jewish, whatever, you know, I get dumb questions.
I mean, I don't remember any right now, but my sister got one. She was wearing a hijab at the time, and they were like, "Do you go to sleep with the hijab?" And it's like, what? Why would I do that? Like, unless you live with like a strange man and he's your roommate for some reason, which is not really, you know, like doesn't make sense. Or like, I feel like they just have like stupid questions, like when we're fasting for Ramadan, like, do you just not eat or drink for the whole 30 days? Like, no, we can break our fast after sunset. Like, we're not trying to kill people.
How silly is that? Because, like, how many days can somebody be healthy and fast in a row?
Yeah. I mean, like women get a break if they're pregnant or, you know, their time of the month or anything, or sick, and people in general if they're sick. Or you can, if you can't really fast, like you can donate money or feed people, like, you know, cook or something. But yeah, so it's very flexible. It's not like do it or go to hell. Like,
So, how does your dad take the fact that you poke fun of him on stage? Is he on board with it?
so he was on board with it, but I think I took it too far and I had to reel it back a little. I was like, okay, I'll stop doing jokes about killing you. Like, so yeah, I mean, he's like, oh, they feel bad for you. Like, you seem like a victim. Like, you're pathetic up there. And I was like, I don't think so. I mean, most of them don't feel that bad to laugh if they don't want to, like, if they don't like my jokes. Cause like the last show I did, they were just like I did 20 jokes, and then one of them I was like, oh, like I would say like, oh, that one's not good after, you know, not a good response. And then I did one joke, and then someone was like, that one's good. And I'm like, oh, thank you. 1 out of 20. Like, so it's like people don't laugh out of pity. Like,
No.
so yeah. I mean, I just need to not listen to him because he's not a comedian. So how would he have good advice, you know?
Exactly. Some of the best advice I've gotten from non-comedians because they're objective, but then some of the worst advice, you know, like they'll
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I don't really like that joke, but let me tell you one." And they tell you one from Buddy Hackett in 1946.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, you're a hack. You're hacking Buddy Hackett. You don't see a problem. You don't see that me sitting and writing a joke and telling the joke and knowing how to deliver the joke is maybe a little bit better than you ripping one off.
Yeah. I have to like learn to not listen to everything that people say, because you have to have a vision of where you want things to go and not to go and get distracted, especially like I was mentioning, there's those feedback mics. And sometimes I do too many and I'm like, I don't know what to do with the joke anymore. Like it's become everyone else's joke. Yeah.
You go on stage and you go, okay, I'm going to tell a joke 17 different ways
Yeah.
because I'm confused.
It'll take forever, yeah, to perfect it, because you have to try the same way for 3 times to see if it's gonna hit, and then compare it 17 times.
Yeah, I was gonna do 20 jokes for you, but I've been going to these feedback mics. So let me try this one joke 17 ways that they gave me.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, tell me which one's better. Okay, here's one. You like it? On a scale of 1 to 10, how did it do? Okay, number 2. And they're like, where's the exit?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the silliest thing you've seen at a Zoom mic or show or in person in your career as a stand-up?
Like you saying in person too?
Yeah.
I've been to some recently to some, well, okay, so actually before the pandemic, there was an open mic, and then afterwards the guy let people like, book it in advance, but he let them have their own show. And this guy had his shirt off and he was very like not in shape and hairy, and and he was just kind of like making me like leave, but want to leave. So I was getting up to go, and then he was like running around and he's like, get out of the way. I was like, oh my God, this is so scary. Why am I here? And for some reason, someone went to McDonald's and got like 30 burgers and was giving them out. And I was like, how do comedians have money for this? So, I mean, I think that was a little bit the weirdest thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the weirdest thing that happened to me, Amira. So there was this host at a comedy club, and he was on the spectrum, not always that aware of what the surroundings are. And he was hosting this open mic, and the whole entire comedy club was a window. So it's like you're doing comedy in a fishbowl. And so everybody on the street can look in at this open mic. And it was where all the homeless hung out. So all the homeless would stand there and watch these nutcases doing comedy with a mic in their hand. And he's not very aware because he's on the spectrum. And so he's totally oblivious to what's going on outside, but we can see it because his back is to the fishbowl. And then all of a sudden he notices what's going on. He thought they were laughing at him, but we're laughing at what's going on outside. And he turns around and he taunts the homeless people. Like he's banging on the window and making fun of them. And one of them breaks a bottle of beer and comes in with a broken bottle of beer to slice us all to ribbons.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing I ever saw happen at a comedy club.
Yeah, I'll take mine any day.
He
Yours is
was,
more dangerous.
yeah, he didn't remain as the host of that much after that. They were like, maybe we should like rein him in a bit.
Yeah, that I feel like that is appropriate to lose your job. You're like,
Yes. So what is your writing process like? So for instance, I will see something or think of something or be watching the news and they're talking about, what are they talking about? Kentucky. And I'll get a word stuck in my head like bluegrass. And I'll be, oh, I got to come up with a joke about bluegrass. That's my process. I hear a word and I build a whole joke around a word. Well, how do you write jokes or bits?
so I just spend time with my family, and I have a notebook ready or my phone, and I will write things that, like, I have a paper on the fridge if I'm in the living room or kitchen, and I have a notebook in my room. I have my phone anywhere else I go. So usually I just write that and then I'll try it, see if it works. If not, I'll do it at a feedback mic, see how to fix it, keep trying.
So most of your comedy is about your family and hinging around a lot around your dad.
Either that or dating. Yeah, I just open up a dating app and I got like 5 pages of jokes.
Oh, wow. My goodness sakes. So how has dating been going?
Well, I'm a single comedian that's becoming more and more successful.
Yes. Well, what would you like to say to people about your comedy or the comedy world coming out of a pandemic as we close this little interview session?
Well, hopefully you check out my comedy. I am on YouTube. I have like one video public because that's my favorite right now.
Who are you on YouTube?
It's just my name, and so I could put a link in the I don't know where it would be on the, maybe you could put it in the chat of the live thing. I could send it to you. But,
Yes. So it's Amera and spell it
Ameera, and then the last name is ABU-ALSAOUD. I'm gonna send you a link. I'll just message you one. Yeah, or I could put it in the comment section on your page of the live stream. That would probably be better.
I'd love to get that. Because it's going to be hard for me to find you on here.
Yeah, and I think you have already 5,000 friends on Facebook.
I know I have like 10 fan pages or 10 pages, and I'm on Instagram. Are you in Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's Ameera, AMEERA 7489.
Amera 7489. Go in there now.
So yeah, I just posted it now. But yeah, if you want to check it out, it's pretty funny. A little biased, but
yes, I can't wait.
And if you ever think that you want to do comedy, you should just do it, because I was watching comedy for a long time, and then when you see people bomb, you're like, I could do that. Like, it's not, and then you slowly get better. You know what I mean? Like, when you get comfortable, it's probably the delivery or the audience is on their phone or something. Not even you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So always try what you want to.
So you sent me the link to your YouTube over on Instagram?
Oh, I put it on the comment section of your live stream. So
oh, perfect. I'll go there and look.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And tell everybody again where in the Boston area, what dates and the names of the places you have shows.
So on November 18th, it's at Oasis Function Hall. It's in Blue Hill Ave on Boston at 8 p.m. And then on the 19th, it's Patriots Place, Foxborough, One Patriot Place. At same thing, 8 o'clock. One of them is, I think, a toy drive, the Foxborough one. Like, we're donating 50% of the profits to a toy drive. So yeah.
Very good. Wonderful. Well, I wish you all the very best with your comedy career. And when you're famous, I'll come knocking.
Thank you.
And I'll go hook up to your YouTube today.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'll see you later. Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.